Right, guys and girls, welcome back to FTRL. It's been a very, very long time. It's a pleasure to be back as usual. Looks like we're in a sunny Hockenheim today for round number 8 of the F2 Championship. Obviously, I'm making a rare return in the absence of a couple of the ever faithfuls, so hopefully they feel a bit better soon. But joining me, as usual, the one that we can never get rid of, it is Mr. Pagani. Good evening, buddy.
I mean, you say that like you haven't tried. I mean,
Yeah, well, that is true.
I'm like a very bad penny. I just stick around.
Yeah, it's also true. I mean, I can think of worse words, but we won't go into that now. Lovely to be back, mate. We've got a nice full grid this evening. Well, basically.
We do, however, I've just seen From basically go straight on from pit lane and crash at turn 1.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I mean, it's a very, very quick retirement. Got to give him that.
And onto the podium has taken the widest line I've ever seen it to happen.
Now, I don't really want to jinx people, but if there's anybody that I do want to jinx, it's onto the podium. And he keeps crashing at turn 1 in practice, so I have a large suspicion that that may be the case again this evening. I'm just trying to figure out who exactly it is that we are missing tonight. There's one person.
It is Zombie from the second row.
It is Zombie, correct. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Did my research for him.
Yeah, so right, anyway, I'm going to quickly brief everybody on the current standings, and then we've got lots to talk about, Pagani. Now we have two of the more senior people of FTRL in here. At the moment, the top 4 in the championship is Nexus Legend winning it. He has a 16-point lead to Nexus Aspect, so a bit of Nexus domination going on right now. Onto the podium, the man that we're currently on board with is in P3, but he's some way off the pack, so it looks like it's a 2-horse race for the championship. And I mean, I would say there's a battle for promotion, but that's not happening anymore, as most of the people that are watching this will probably already know. So either way, it's just like it's a straight shootout.
It does indeed, and I mean, Aspect has been taking it to Legend the last couple of races.
He has. I mean, we did obviously have Stocky at the start of the season, but that was short-lived. So I thought that was going to be a battle to the end. I mean, I must admit, I was quite surprised with Nexus Aspects like contesting that far up. That's not of any disrespect towards him at all, purely on the basis that we've obviously always known he's pretty quick, but we thought that people like Nexus Legend was always a bit of a cut above. But yeah, he seems to be doing a very, very good job at the minute. Good evening to everybody in the stream. What was you going to say, mate?
We have From in the chat saying, please tell me you weren't on board for his crash at turn 1.
I wasn't on board for that. I did see that you retired. Pagani has filled us all in though, so we've got Jamie from F3 saying, well, any cars flip tonight, there's a good chance. T Smith, last night's winner in F1. See, I might not be commentating the racing, but I'm still keeping up to date.
Last night's winner with a strategic masterclass.
It was. Was it indeed?
I mean, I was in a party with Mr. Joe Burns and Mr. Colandy. I told them to come into pits, but they didn't listen to me.
So that must have been painful for you for that hour or so.
Yeah, it was indeed. It was more painful than crashing out, to be honest. But
Well, we have Academies already moaning in the Discord saying about people going 10 miles an hour in the middle of the road on an in-lap or something. So, yeah.
well,
Fun and games.
so hopefully whoever it was gets up to work for the next lap.
Well, there we go. So, onto the podiums, on a lap on the harder tyres. Hockenheim, Pagani. Obviously a very famous track on the F1 calendar, but how does it sit with you normally?
I do tend to like it, but yeah, I tweaked myself for last night. It just didn't work at all. So, I mean, it's got a very good overtaking opportunity into the hairpin.
Yeah.
Dirty air through the stadium section it can be a bit awkward. I mean, we've seen world champion drivers like Sebastian Vettel crash out by himself at the stadium section.
Yep. And then cry about it afterwards.
Yes. I mean, hopefully we don't see much tears in the Discord, but you never know.
Exactly.
We haven't seen you race in F1 for a while, but how does Hockenheim rate for you?
I've always liked Hockenheim, to be honest. We have had some very, very eventful races. Last night was another one of them. I tuned in briefly for a few seconds and saw absolute chaos, so I thought to myself, I'm just going to turn this off as quickly as possible.
I had to drive underneath a car at one point, which was novel. I haven't done that before. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's first time for everything. But no, I tend to like it quite a lot. It's quite... Strategy's normally quite key around here. Obviously, it's one of the shorter tracks on the calendar, but there's a lot of sort of twisty corners. There's obviously the one massive straight, but other than that, it's predominantly quite a tight and twisty circuit, isn't it? So it's about patience. Patience is quite key, and for some of the drivers in this division, that's always been their downfall, I would say, or at least some of them. So let's
It's a very short track, but it's also quite high in tyre wear from where I remember.
yeah. Well, this is another thing. One stop and two stop are fairly close.
They are indeed.
So yeah,
If you do two stop and come out in traffic, yeah.
I imagine.
Sometimes have to go for revenues.
Yeah, I imagine we're going to see quite a lot of people on the qualifying the medium tyre tonight. I would suggest, and obviously a lot of people have done the hard run as of now, Vitinho being one of them, the man that we're on board with. He's just finished a lap. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up with a few bits and pieces as I'm drastically unprepared for this evening. But Max is approaching the line and he puts it P9 at the moment. Oh dear, who was that coming out of the pits?
I believe
It was a
Hammer.
Haas. It was hammer time, was it?
You
Good old
may
tell.
need a change of underwear.
Yep.
That one. That was very close.
Next is Cats on a lap. On a flying lap.
On the hard tyre.
Yep. I've seen him up there towards the front again. He's another one this season that's kind of pushed. He's not quite hit the dizzy heights of a podium or a race win yet, but he's been in very good positions a lot of the time, so maybe tonight is the night he can do it.
I mean,
Approaching the line.
do we want to know whether I would like a surprise? I mean, personally, I think we prefer the surprise.
Yeah, I mean that would insinuate that it's going to be a potentially wet race. But well, actually probably not, because a lot of people are on the hard tyre still. Or maybe rain a bit later, maybe.
Michael C's going for the hashtag Team Pagani. I mean, it's nice to see. However, I won't be racing in F1. So, yeah,
Goy's in there. Team, get that banana out of my house. Let's not push the boundaries yet, Goy.
Goy straight in there.
Yeah, he always is. Well, Frome's come out and said that he decided to take a ludicrous amount of speed into turn one and the car wouldn't have it, so Frome's absolutely bottled it.
I mean,
So,
if you want a bottle, you know where to go.
I mean,
Park up the foams out. It's fine.
I'm just... Is that a blue flag? No, it's Aaron. Come on, Frome. I've known you longer than I've known most of the people that are racing on this grid tonight. I know we all sound quite similar, me and him, but come on.
Well, Nick's Legend has improved to go P3 on the hard tyre.
Yeah, it's pretty quick, isn't it? I'm really annoyed with you, Frome. I can't believe... Well, you do sound crazy similar. No, we just don't. Anyway, right. I'm just looking at this grid, and I think F2 is a very underrated division because we've got... I know obviously F1 has a lot of very, very fast guys in there, but I would say a very... I wouldn't like to give like an actual percentage, but a very large portion of these drivers would actually compete for points or low end points, etc. in F1. So it really is a pretty quick division.
I was going to say, I'd say probably F2 is more or less my speed, or the front guys are a bit quicker. So
Yeah, the guy on pole was Eddie 3, I refer to him as. He's been in and out a couple of times with FTRL, but he's always been a real pleasant lad. I'm pleased to see him back. He's a very, very nice lad. Got some good pace as well. Always very respectful on track. Brutus Beer, obviously I don't know too much about him. I've been following every single race.
Aaron,
Yeah, I'm
with the hashtag give us the percentage.
No, I've seen T Smith's comment underneath it, and yeah. Well, let's not talk about that right now. Thank you very much.
I mean, to be fair, Arsenal did win, So
We did. I mean, it's just nice to have the opportunity to play in the Premier League, isn't it, Tom? Yeah. Let's leave it at that. But I'm on board with, I believe it's Max. He's in the Red Bull.
he is indeed. He had a couple of tough runs lately with some unforeseen damage. Not his fault, just getting caught up in other people's incidents. So
I'm going to put you on the spot, Pagani. You've obviously been in commentating for F2 for all season.
I have.
So I'm going to ask you to, before qualifying's even finished, I'm going to ask you to tell me who you think's going to be on pole, and also who you think's going to be on the podium tonight. It could completely change, but it'll be quite funny.
Well, I can tell you it won't be. It won't be FTRL Hamilton, who has retired from the session. I mean, none of these guys are really going out on the soft tyre just yet. You know what? I'm going to put Cat on pole. He does like to go for a fast lap, so I expect to see him out on the soft tyres. He's going to P3 on the medium.
Yep.
So, and obviously, yeah, me and Cat are now best buds, so I'm supporting Cat.
Well, that's
Cat
probably
understands
the most surprising thing that I've ever heard you say.
Oh. Did you not see his lovely picture he made for me in the Discord?
No, I've just noticed City Posh is missing half of his... oh no, I did see that. City Posh is missing half of his wing. I think... don't know why. I think Hijacked is going to win tonight.
I was going to say, picking the top 3 in the race is difficult, especially with 5 minutes to go in quali.
I think ZE3 is going to hang on to pole. I don't think anybody's going to beat that unless they go out on the softs. It's pretty good time from him, to be fair. So I think he's probably going to keep...
hasn't set a time yet.
No.
Putting a lot of pressure on himself.
I think ZE3 is going to take pole though. I think Hijack's going to win. It's going to be quite a jumbled up grid. I imagine Foam will have a good race from the back, but I can't see him coming through and winning from last. City Posh is retired. Lee Cole currently in P9. Obviously he'll want to improve
I might go
as
for
much
a
as possible.
prediction.
Go on.
Rom is going to win the race.
Rom?
Yep.
Okay. I'd love that.
Although I hate it, onto the podium will get second.
Hate it or hate him?
I mean, either works. And Donzo for P3. There you go.
That is a very bold call.
It is indeed.
Well, people saying Goy's put Lee Cole first, Mr. Sim second, Zom third. Okay. Michael C, yes, I'm trying to trick Aaron. I'm not even going to read his comments. I don't understand Scouse. Goy Carp, Catmees, turn 1 dive bomb, take out the front 8, bananas romp home to win. From I'll be lucky to get a point. I'm just going to ignore that one because it's rubbish. And Hijacked, Rom and me doing a victory lap together. I mean, if you're going to talk in proper English, it should be Rom and I, but who's going to be picky at this time of night?
Well, my poll prediction is going out the window as Cat has retired from the session. So.
Oh, there we go. Well, Nexus Lotus. Nexus Aspect still hasn't come out of the pits. Is that him?
It's a very short lap, but...
But he's done... Is he coming out? West is in. Nexus Legend will win this. He probably will. I mean, he's been winning it all season, but it's well, I mean, he's not, in fairness. Nexus Aspect has won a couple, but there's literally no sign of Nexus Aspect at all. So I'm just going to stay here for a second and see whether he does decide to come out. I can see some movement. Is that him?
Yeah,
there is a McLaren coming out.
There's a pit lane already on track.
Is yeah, Lotus, alright, so he's coming out. So this is a one lap shootout for him.
Oh, that went down the wrong way.
Oh, alright. Co-commentator's just dying. Nice. Right, Mikey's on a...
Orange Aid. It wasn't
Nice.
Seaman.
God, I've not seen... I had Orange Age for a long time. Interesting tactic from Mikey there. He was going down the main straight and towards the hairpin. He was in overtake mode and he dropped all the way down to low ERS. Then he went back up to overtake. I've not seen people do that. I know people that drop down to high, but...
I tend to drop down to high, but... I mean, I'm a washed up F1 driver, so...
Yeah. About 1 minute to go.
Youthful prospects in F2 are the
Yeah, I
guys that
know.
know all the...
Isn't it worrying? Go back a few years ago and it was just, we could do no wrong. And he's taking that last corner pretty nicely, is Mikey. Where's he going to put the car? P3.
P3.
Nice. Yellow flag, sector 3, probably onto the podium. And it's not. Nexus Aspect is bracing himself. I'm going to go on board with him for this lap.
I went on board with the wrong Nexus. I got Nexus Lotus and it's hard line from turn 1 to turn 2, so...
Right, next he is on the medium tyres. Nexus Aspect.
He hasn't cut turn 1, but that's still valid.
That's always the first thing we look out for. Nexus Cat's retired. P14. He'll be disappointed with that.
So he was just starting a lap, so I'm going to guess that he did cut turn 1. But it's very easy to do.
So he might have a little bit of a toe. It's gone a little bit deep into the hairpin as well. Didn't touch the apex. I think that's his teammate giving him a bit of a slipstream. I think.
It is ZE3, I believe. He's also on a hot lap.
Well, I'm going to stay on board with Nexus Aspect. Pretty good lap from him so far. I mean, if he can break into that mould of anywhere around Nexus Legend, it'd be a very good starting place for him.
Well,
He's really got to take the fight to him, hasn't
caught traffic on his second medium run, so he's
he?
not
Next
going
Aspect,
on for it.
final corner. 12 flat. Yeah, he does. He jumps Nexus Legend. That's a brilliant lap from him. That really is. Hijack's gone up to P2. ZD3 does hold on. I thought he would. It was a pretty solid time from him there, to be honest. Yeah, Foam said one of the Ferraris getting blocked badly, and the only one here was Nexus Legend, so yeah, he's obviously encountered some trouble.
He caught Max on a lap, but Max was also on a lap, so he was fully entitled to complete said laps.
Yeah. Well, there we go. I think that's everybody. So, taking pole position is ZE3, and then alongside him on the front row is Hijacked, and then Brutus, the set time on this soft tyre, just a couple of starts off in P3, good position for him. Nexus Aspect is in P4 with championship rival Nexus Legend behind him, and then I believe it was Rom Elson down in P6. I'll confirm that in just a second. Yeah, Rom Elson in P6, and then onto the podium, and Mikey occupied a fourth row of the grid, and Vitinho and Cat round off the top 10. Hammer Time starts in a good place in P11, as does Lee Cole in P12. The two admins of the division sharing a sixth row. City Posh Blue and Max in 13th and 14th, with Nexus Cats and Mr. Stim on the 8th row of the grid. And then rounding off the grid is Nexus Lotus and Flying Foam, with Donzo starting P19 from the back. So let us know who we think is going to end up where. I'm intrigued to see. There's plenty of things to talk about as this race goes on, Pagani. We can talk people through the changes for next season and whatever else as well.
What I'm going to say is that Lee Cole has actually managed to qualify off the back row. Which is probably the first time I've said that all season. So, I mean, fingers crossed.
Oh, that looks dark.
He cannot get wing damage at turn 1.
Ooh, okay. I can see a lot of thick, dark cloud.
Hold it back. Hold it back. Right, it's fine. I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
Or it was either that or it was a fart. I'm not sure which one it was.
No, I was going to say something and it probably wasn't right for this time of night, so...
I'm just moving my microphone around to the other side of my desk. There we go. Okay. So, formation lap. Pagani, you can take us through that in just a second.
Oh god.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Freshen things up a little bit for you.
I mean, there is some questions over weather, so tyre choice for those from top from 11th back is going to be intriguing.
Okay, well there we go, Pagani. Formation lap is underway. Take us away, buddy.
Well, we've got ZD3 who's had a good couple of results since he came back into the league, starting on pole on the soft tyre. I mean, you expect him to run away at the front maybe, but got Hijack P2 also on the soft tyre. Has had some good and bad this season. Started off not too well, but back into the season has had some nice results. So we're looking to continue that hot streak. Brutus in forcing. Wait, it's not a forcing, it's a racing point. But it's still pink, so we'll go with it. P3, last guy in the top 4 in the soft tyre. Can he stay with the two guys in front? That is the question. And we'll see. Aspect, the man taking a fight, the Nexus Legend, is our first runner on a medium tyre. I mentioned Nexus Legend, he's starting directly behind his title rival. Will there be some moves early doors? Rom, probably Mr. Unlucky in F2 at the moment. It'll be good to see him finally get a result if he can pull it off tonight. On the podium in 7th, I don't think anybody's really that bothered about him. You've got Mikey in P8 in the Haas. I mean, soft tyre starting 8th. Will he be able to get a flyer starting, pull a couple of places early? We will see. Mattini with the Mercedes, starting P9 on the medium tyre. Hasn't had the run of the green so far. A couple of early incidents, caused some early retirements. But with a better luck today, you've got Cat in 10th in the Williams. Usually a flyer off the line, but it's a very short run to turn 1. Will he be able to make up the places he usually does? You've got Hammer Time in P11. Will his vape drop on his foot this time? We will see. Lee Cole, I mean, he's probably got a nosebleed starting that high up in the grid, but starting P12 on the medium tyre. City Porsche. I think in total FTRL is Mr. Unlucky Man. But got a couple of good results the last couple of races, so starting P13. Unlucky for some, hopefully not for him. Max is already in the grid in P14. I mean, it'd be nice to see him get a point today. Nexus Cats. He's hoping that that racing point can get back into the points. Mr. Stim, I think everybody's Mr. Proverbial. Oh, he's back. Nexus Lotus also on the grid after incident of formation. That from expect a bottle. And Donzo starting to come back on the soft tyre.
There we go. Lovely. Okay, so we're just getting ready for lights out in Hockenheim for round number 8 of the F2 Championship and FTRL. We are lights out and away we go. Looks like ZD3's had a very good start. Brutus has got ahead of Hijack going to turn 1. They're going to go side by side. Looks like it's all okay.
Cat's very wide into turn 1.
Cat's only jumped up one place actually. I thought he might have spelled a little bit of trouble from somewhere.
Oh.
Lee's dropped down 4 places, 5 places. What's happened to Lee?
Car ghosting in the background, but
has he got any wing damage or anything?
Nexus Lotus is lagging slightly.
Oh, Hijack's had a...
Oh, okay, from sent it, and I don't think he meant to. Nexus Lotus has gone through 3 cars. There's a little bit of lag towards the back, unfortunately.
Yeah, Nexus Legend has got past Aspect already. Brutus got past Hijacked, who's under severe pressure now from Nexus Legend. A few of the guys staying where they are.
I mean, just before the race, in the Urban chat, Mr. Lee Cole said he's going to die. So, I mean, you're not dead yet, Lee. You just lost a couple of places. So it's fine. Keep going.
Exactly, it's worked out alright so far for him, isn't it? There we go. So Hijacked is now straight back on the back of Brutus, who's had a wobble. ZD3 and Brutus have both gone.
Wow.
Wow, that's going to cause mayhem. I mean, there has to be a safety car, or at least a VSC, I'm sure, surely.
I mean, we had a VSC last night, but that was with cars being upside down, so...
I mean, 2 cars have crashed at turn 1. How is that not a VSC? Wow, so...
City Porsche is pitted for a new front wing.
Here comes Katamise around the outside, brakes very, very late. Oh, it's a sandwich. That
So
was
Tony went up the inside of Mikey at the same corner, so it was, yeah.
Mikey got involved in a right little sandwich there, didn't he? There we go. So we've lost the race leader and the guy running in second as well. So Hijack has inherited the race lead.
The Hijack is the only runner at the front on the soft tyre now, so...
Yeah, he's not in a particularly great position as Hijacked.
We'll have to try and run away from Nexus Legend, which is a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, Mikey's had a big wobble there as well.
Oh, Nexus Cat's up inside a hammer time in a place where you wouldn't usually expect to move.
Well, he was quicker and the opportunity was there. He's giving it a go, isn't he? Now at turn 1, it's going to claim a few victims tonight, I think, as DRS is enabled as we start lap 3.
So that move from Nexus Cat reminded me of a move that was pulled on me a couple of years ago. That was by Mr. Goodheads, and yeah, we both ended up in a wall, so...
Yeah. And I'm sure that ended up being your fault, yeah.
It did. Oh,
Nexus Lotus, so I can't go on board in Nexus Lotus, I'm afraid.
Yeah,
Hijacked.
A little bit of lag with Lotus at the moment.
Yeah. Hijack going back at Nexus Legend. Good respectful driving.
Oh, not a softer tyre, we'll have a little bit more grip, especially to the stadium section, side by side with Legend coming into it.
Oh, a little bit of...
I mean, there was no contact, it was very clean racing from the pair.
It's a lovely bit of driving. What a move that was.
Side by side to inherit the stadium section.
That was
not easy to pull off.
In the words of Joe Burns, that was fantastic racing. If you know, you know. Hijack picks up a 3-second penalty yet.
A few guys running wide at turn 1, so I expect to see a few more 3-second penalties. The Nexus Cat picks up one.
Yep. Catamese as well. He's in a Mercedes sandwich, not for the first time this season. He seems to always find them too, doesn't he, onto the podium in Bitinho.
Well, Nexus Legend's got back past Hijack, so obviously DRS and maybe a little bit quicker top end speed.
There we go. I'm just trying to see what the
Oh, Frome is up inside Nexus Cat at the hairpin.
Westies in this, and what happened? I missed it. Well, ZE3 and Brutus both went round turn 1 on lap 2, and I think they both lost it on that inside of the curb for turn 1 and sort of spun in sync, and both lost a wheel, unfortunately. So that was a bit of a crazy turn of events. So I'm going to stay with what is the closest battle at the moment, and that's Vitinho trying to close down Catamese. You've got Stims very close to Nexus Cats as well. There's quite a few little trains formed.
Oops, Stims caught that inside curb at the stadium section and spun.
Okay, so as he tries to recover, Lee Cole sitting pretty in P13. He's got Max gone up behind him. Roy Elson, he's very, very close to the next aspect now. We could potentially see a move from the Rocket Williams driver.
I mean, Williams at the moment are looking strong.
They are. Well, going to take a look to the outside of next aspect, is he? Maybe a switchback.
Deep.
Yeah, lovely move. Very, very nice move from Rom Elson. With his teammate a little bit further behind. Oh, Catamese and Vitinho. Oh, there's just a bit of wheel banging.
Vitinho was on the grass when I looked there.
Yeah, he went deep into the hairpin. Well, Hijack is staying with Nexus Legend, and there's a 2.5 second gap nearly to Rom in P3, but he's probably going to have to pit fairly soon because those soft tyres just fall off around this track. It wouldn't surprise me if he's in with the next couple.
Nexus Lotus. I don't know, he's just lost 3 positions. Oh, Lee. Has Lee got damage? Yeah,
Front
Lee's
right,
missing that right side.
He's now holding up. But if Frome's already up to P10, he's on the back of Hammer Time as well. Keep an eye on Frome during this race. I think he might finish fairly well. Podium might be a little bit out of reach for him, but oh, Nexus Cats, it was very unsteady going through turn 1.
Well, Lee's pitted and Mr. Stim has won again. So not the race for Team Banana tonight. Which might upset Mr. Goycarp in the chat, unfortunately. Oh, Vatini was up the inside of Cat into the hairpin. Oh. Well, Cat gets a much better exit.
Oh, that was a big wiggle from Frome coming out the hairpin.
I was watching the Haas change order and Frome was very silent coming out that hairpin.
Yellow flagged in sector 2. Not entirely sure why. Stim's gone to the pits and retired, unfortunately. He'll be kicking himself if there's a safety car. But Vitinho is still very, very close to the back of Catamies. He's had a very good run into turn 1. He's going to go side by side with Catamies into turn 1. Cat's lifted.
To have that sort of run into turn 1 is bonkers, but Cat got a much better run through turn 1.
Yeah, this is going to be a very long battle. I think onto the podium now was pulled a nearly 5-second gap to these two. So I'd probably
make them put the mediums on.
Let's go on board with Cat. Can
That's
easily get that move done. Vitino's going to go later on the brakes. Going to run to the outside. Oh, he could really. If he pulls this off, that'd be a lovely move. I think Cat's maybe got the slightly better exit speed. Yeah, he has.
Yeah, Vitinho had a bad run because he was trying to accelerate on the curb, which obviously
yeah, I think Vitinho doesn't seem to. He's quicker than Cat through probably 80%. Yeah, most of the track. It's just that straight. He always ends up behind.
Oh.
Did you have that same camera angle as well, the sort of panning away one?
Cat is missing his right emperor.
Is he?
He is indeed.
Oh, very good spot. You can tell I've not done this for a while. I'm normally on.
Vitinho was up the inside of the last corner.
Yeah, he keeps getting good runs through there, doesn't he?
But that would explain why Cat is struggling just a bit. I mean, Hammertime's caught up on the back of this bear, and Frome is catching all three of them.
Yeah, we've got a real life FTRL train, 5 cars strong. And Hijacked has pitted, he's come back out in P10.
Nexus Cats didn't want to make a move, but rapidly caught the train in front, so yeah.
Rom Elson and Nexus Aspect are still going at it.
But Vitinho with another run on Cat. Goes to the outside again.
He's going to switch back him here. Yeah, you can tell by the angle that he took when he broke. He's had a very nice run. Going to go on board with Hammer Time, who's behind these two.
Cat's inside, but Vitinho going round the long way. Side by side.
I've given it's contact. There he goes.
Resulting in a half spin for Vitinho.
Yeah, I know it sounds bad, but I just, when I saw both of them keep trying to overtake each other and sort of switching directions and stuff, I had a feeling. I didn't want to say anything, but one of them was going to go. Flying Frome now in a very good position. Bear in mind, he started last, or started second to last. He's up 11 spots up to P7. He's in the battle for P5 at the moment. Nexus Cat's going strong as well. Is he on hard tyre? Yeah, I need to change actually.
Frome and Nexus Cats.
Well, Grandad Bob's in the chat. Hi mate, good to hear you all. Evening Grandad. Loves it. Loves his FTRL, doesn't he?
A legend in the FTRL community.
He is indeed. A legend in every community. It's very rare that he misses a race. He's been watching them all since pretty much day one. So, he's probably attended more races than I have.
Well, Vitinho's just got back past Max, but came back to the braking line quite late, which was a bit of contact at the hairpin.
Well, I'd like to go to maybe some other battles, but at the moment we're like 5 cars strong. Hijack's caught these guys very, very quickly. What's the gap to the leader from these guys?
Probably the one thing Hijack did not want.
No, not a big train like this especially. I mean, I imagine he'll probably pick his way through it, but at the moment he's nearly a pit stop, or just under a pit stop away from Nexus Legends, and he's inevitably going to have to pit again as well.
Wide at turn 1.
Yeah.
Oh, Hijack up inside Nexus Carts. A fantastic run off turn 1.
Yeah, he's going to have a run on Fromir as well, so he might be able to get 2 of them. Just go on board.
Zach. Spring check. Afternoon,
Hijack is going to go late on the brakes. He's going to try it.
Hammer time inside a cat. There's contact.
Hijack's had a good run.
Cat sent it back on hammer time.
Oh, Catamaze. It's going to come back across.
Did Hijack get damage from that?
Hijack didn't. I think Frome has. Oh, Catamaze has picked up a 5-second penalty for that. Frome's rage quit, I think.
He has indeed.
Yeah, not good. I mean, accidents do happen.
They do indeed, especially with very close racing.
Yep. Well, unfortunately, premature into that battle.
Cat has decided to pit.
Yeah, he should be okay to go on to the hards from here, I think.
Ron the close car is in the pits, and Gonzo is also in the pits.
Okay, so a few pit stops starting to open up now. Third of the way through the race. And Nexus Aspect and Rom Elton just keep trading positions every lap down the main straight.
I mean, it's allowed Nexus Legend to pull a 7-second gap. He has also pulled a 3-second time penalty in that time, so... In reality, the gap is 4 seconds currently without penalty.
Yeah. I'm just checking Hammer Time and Hijacked. Have they got wound damage either of them? Yeah, Hammer Time's missing the front right end plate, unfortunately. I don't think Nexus Cats is fine. How's Hijacked? He's fine as well.
Right. He's still got end plates.
Well, have you seen who's caught up to this battle for second?
I have indeed. I was trying not to pay attention, to be honest. I suppose we have to mention him, don't we?
Yep, certainly do.
Mr. Onto the podium is attempting to force his way into this top 3 battle. He had a very good run at Singapore. Was probably one of, if not the fastest driver on track at Singapore.
Yeah. Well, Nexus Legend currently controlling the field. 7.5 second gap, but he can't put his feet up just yet. You know, I know it's still a fairly nice gap, but nothing that one mistake won't close. There's a little bit
about half a second on Rom. Half at the moment.
Yeah. I imagine these guys are just going to one-stop it onto the hards. Is anyone going to try the undercut? Any of them? Nope.
I think the Hijack is on a 2-stop from here, so...
Yeah, Hijack's definitely on a 2-stop, yeah.
I think I've only ever seen on the podium do a 1-stop. So.
Yeah. Well, out of choice anyway, I suppose.
I mean, I know he did a 4-stop at Monaco once, but that's where you get crashing into the wall.
I think we've all done that at some stage. Right, Rom Elson.
Yeah, I pitted 7 times at Monaco. That's not good.
Now, knowing Rom Elson like I do, he's going to be loving this battle at the moment.
He is indeed. I mean, we are trying to get the sound called GT Sport League as well.
Yeah, I think he's Aspect looks like he locked up a little bit there. Onto the podium, going to be licking his lips at the moment. He looks pretty quick. It's not a line I say too often, but he does.
Take your word for it. I don't want to see it.
Now, someone has surely got to dive into the pits soon and try and undercut.
The last time I said anything positive about Mr. on the podium, he printed it off and it's still on his wall.
Stuck on his wall.
Yeah.
Now onto the podium, putting Rom Elson under a bit more pressure than Rom's putting on Nexus Aspect. So Aspect is going to be hoping he can get to the end of this straight without being passed by at least one of these two. And then maybe he can let them two kind of squabble it out a little bit.
ERS between the three guys is all very similar.
Ooh, Connor was very, very close to it in the back of Rom there. Oh, Rom's had a massive moment. Yeah, his tyres have gone completely locked up the front left. And he's sent himself into a half spin. That's allowed Nexus Aspect to pull a 1.2 second gap, which is exactly what I thought he'd be hoping for. So I imagine that Rom, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if I saw all of these guys come in, or at least one of them. I think Rom will be 100% coming to the pits. Yeah, Rom's in, yeah. What I thought would happen. Okay.
You can see a hijack comes out.
Yeah, hijack is going to jump. I mean, he's not jumped Legend. Legend is already out. Yeah.
I was gonna say, hijack lost a lot of time with that concertina effect in the middle
He did.
sector.
Yeah, it'll be a bit disappointed, but starting on the soft tyres at the front, he was already at a disadvantage, I think. Now, Rom Elson onto the podium. What sort of outlap can I have? Connor's just picked up a very silly penalty there, running a little bit wide. He's going to have to run on Rom as well. Rom's going to try and outbrake him a little bit. Yeah, Connor gets the move done. For experienced league racers, Connor is not going to fall for that. And now Nexus Cat's right away at these guys as well, so I imagine Aspect will come in. These guys need a brilliant outlap, but they're getting a little bit of a tow, but running in a bit of dirty air as well, so the pros and cons are quite similar. Aspect is in the pitch, yeah. I mean, Nexus Cats is going to be going. He's going to be going longer into this race because he's on the harder tyre.
I mean, you'd expect another, what, 5-6 laps from Nexus Cats?
Yeah, probably. I imagine these guys get past him quite quickly, but where is Nexus Aspect in all of this? He's just left his pit box. Yeah, they've got
a fair gap, to be honest.
And it is quite the gap, actually.
That's 4 seconds.
Now, I would not be surprised if Rom Elson is at the front of this little group by the end of this straight.
Oatley's round at the penultimate corner.
Here comes Rom. They're going to go 3 wide. Connor puts his car in the middle of the track. Rom up the inside. Yeah, there we go. I thought that might happen. Nexus Aspect, but
he did call it.
Yeah. Can't teach an old dog new tricks, Pagani, we know this.
No contact between Cat and Lotus. Cat's off. Oh!
Oh, he's big time spinning.
Very nearly got clipped by Max on the way through.
Cat's just spinning, he's trying to get his car straight again. It's just not going particularly well for him. It seems to just... something always seems to happen with Cat, isn't there? I don't know what it is. Cat's been in pretty much from the first ever race we ever did in FTRL. And it's just, I think ever since then, always something's always happened. Right, Nexus Aspect has not had a particularly great outlap.
He has closed on Cats, but Cats has also fallen away.
Yeah, he really has. Nexus Aspect is... he's about 4 seconds behind onto the podium. And the Nexus Legend looks odds on to win this, I think. It would be a very safe bet for most people. Well, the only battle...
gone on again since that pit stop, and the gap was, what, 8 seconds? And it's
Yeah.
now 11 to Rom. So...
Now, the question is, how's Hijack's going to fare? I think it would probably be safe to assume at this stage, barring any mistakes, the Legend will probably go on to continue to dominate this one. But with the gap with Rom onto the podium, especially them two kind of fighting for position. Hijacked has a little bit of a gap and he's going to be on quicker tyres towards the end. Onto the podium's run wide at the final corner.
It did indeed. He did well not for that gravel to send him spinning. So.
Yeah, Nexus Aspect has responded and gone. I guess he's close up about half a second on him there. He now has a.
Hold him up too much.
No. Doing a bit of a toe down the straight. Then again, you say that. I know these guys like to all squabble and fight between themselves.
They do, but 15 laps difference in tyre life is.
Hijack's picked up another penalty. I would probably say at this stage, this battle between Rom and onto the podium is more than likely going to be the battle for P2.
It is indeed, because Hijack will, when he pits, come out about 7th at the moment.
Yeah, just looking at the gap to the leader now, probably 7th, 8th, something like that. Certainly won't be any lower than that, but I mean, although he will be quick towards the end, he's also got a few penalties. I know Connor's got one at least.
I do believe I've seen his name come up once.
Oh, Max and Nexus Lotus.
I was like, they are getting closer, but I keep seeing Nexus Lotus jumping up and down the timesheets.
Yeah, so God knows where he actually is.
So I'm not entirely sure where his car
No.
actually is, so... I know we had it in a performance race at Singapore where myself and Kat were desynced from each other, which made for quite a spectacle on screen.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I've just been informed that Fanny Lynn is listening. Good evening. As is Nova Furious. Is that ESR Thompson? Or Norwich City? Is that him? Or is it Unsafe Release? It's one of them two. I'm sure it is. I get really confused by everybody's YouTube names. Nevertheless, good evening. Whichever one you are.
There's another name floating in my head, but I can't remember. There was a guy that watched all of our streams towards the end of the 2018 game.
That was Blue Phoenix.
Yeah. I know you keep changing his name. Oh, well, I mean, Norwich City has responded in the chat, so...
Is it Norwich City? Probably need to change. There we go. That's much easier for everybody.
Well, next Cats is in the pit lane. I mean, from here I'd expect him to put mediums to go at the end. It does indeed. But with that pit stop, I think the closest battle on track is on the podium and Rom is giving it a full of work.
Yeah, Connor had that wobble coming out of the final corner and he's just kind of maintained gap. To be perfectly honest, I would imagine he's quite content with the gap at the moment.
I mean, Nexus Aspect, since he's at that fastest lap, hasn't really closed in on the back of the pass.
No, it hasn't. I mean, one thing I'd say, the intriguing thing about this little battle we've got at the minute is Nexus Aspect needs to push because his championship rival is winning this race, so even if he finishes behind him, he needs to make sure it's second, he doesn't lose too much ground. But Rom, as we know, is extremely fast when he wants to be and consistent. And, you know, as much as we hate to pay a compliment, Mr. Onto the Podium himself is a very, very experienced league racer. So he will be aware of pretty much every situation that there is. So where he is at the moment, I imagine he's probably quite happy with it. He's not particularly pushing too much. And these guys are slowly catching Hijacked as well.
The one thing about the podium didn't want to happen is that Rom just got DRS from Rom's ghost car, so allowed him to pull another half second on the road.
Yeah.
And City Porsche should just come out the pits and come out right behind Halifax. I mean, you'd expect him to get the move done. It does indeed. Well before the braking zone.
Hamilton's not got much battery left, must be said, so let's hope he can sit behind City Posh for a little bit. Oh, Cat's gone. Turn one?
Turn one.
Yeah, it certainly
Indeed.
was. There he is, look. I don't know if he lost a wheel there or
Oh!
not. What's up?
Oh, Max just swerved to avoid the crash car of cat.
Oh, no way.
And in doing so, ran alongside the green barrier and it just ripped the front wheel off the car.
Oh no, I mean there's two cars sat there. Surely that's a safety car. I don't, God, this game.
Well, Nexus Cat on fresh medium tyres is on the back of Vitinho, but he's very sideways through turn one, like opposite lock and everything. And that's allowing City Porsche to rapidly gain on the pair.
Ooh, VSC. Now where is hijacked? Where is hijacked?
He's going through the middle sector.
Oh. So if he was going towards the end of his lap, he could have pitted, and that would have really thrown a spanner in the works. Rom Elson drive through
no.
penalty, speeding under the virtual safety car.
I mean, Mr. Lee Collar's been pinned for speeding in pit lane.
Oh, Rom is going to be gutted. Nexus Legend has pitted, or is hijacked. Can he get in before the VSC ends?
But he's trying to.
Oh, DRS enabled. That's Nexus Legend has landed on his feet there. He's done his pit stop. He's just leaving the pits now. Rom Elson's just pitted.
He's serving the drive through.
Has he served it? I don't know
I
whether it
believe he
would've-
was attempting to, but
Yeah.
it has. No, he has gone through. On my screen, the card to come in the box, but he has just driven straight through.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yeah, he's not changed tyres or anything. Well, onto the podium's new race leader, Nexus
Yeah, I've
Legend,
just seen that.
and Nexus Aspect later on the brakes. God, he really had to just stop the car dead then. He's going to fight for everything he's got now, Nexus Aspect, but given the nature of this, I think it's going to be done fairly quickly. There we go. Now, the problem Nexus Legend has is a massive bus in front of him.
I mean, obviously he wanted to catch the number one at the Hockenheim ring today, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Nexus Cats is 3-second penalty. I believe it's not the first one I've seen. So, penalties could play a vital part in the end of this race.
They're certainly good. 10 laps to
I mean,
go.
Nexus Legend has one though for a fact. Not the podium has one. I haven't seen Aspect get one yet. But he has dropped nearly 2 seconds to Legend already.
Yeah.
I mean, is Connor going to fight this? I don't think he will, to be honest. He is a boss, but I mean, fresh mediums to warning hards. Oh, there's a bit of contact. We've got very easy runs out of the hairpin. All side by side. Legend gets the move
Yeah,
done.
he gets it done. I think onto the podium's probably going to think to himself that he just needs to kind of stick with him now. Don't let Aspect get too close. He's done quite well managing that gap. He's lost a little bit of time, but I'm sure I've seen Nexus Aspect's name pop up for a penalty.
I'm not sure.
Hijacked is going to be fast at this stage of the race. Especially on
pulled
the...
a second on Aspect already.
Yeah, he's going to be quick.
But the man behind him, Ron, is not falling away.
Nope. Quite
If
intriguing
Rom-
into the race, isn't it?
If Rom can stay in Hijack's DRS and just pull himself onto the back of Aspect,
Ooh. There's a train for P6 right now. Vitinho, Nexus Cats and City Posh. Nexus
Oops,
Cats
City Posh has a
skids out of
fantastic
turn
run.
1. Yeah,
gets on the inside Nexus Cats.
yeah, nice move.
No.
Nexus Cats can't do much about that. Ooh, that was close.
Looking City Posh do got the thing a long way back.
Lovely panning camera angle here. Or Nexus Cats, yeah.
City Porsche. Did he get damage? I don't think he did.
I thought I saw something come off, but maybe I didn't.
Template's still good.
Yeah, City Porsche looking fast, 4-lap old, medium size. I mean, it's a squabble for P6 at the moment. I think that's going to be as good as it gets for those guys. Nexus Aspect has pulled half a second onto the podium with 8 laps to go. Penalties is going to be where it really matters to come into this race, I think.
It is indeed. City Porsche coming right into the medium pace is probably not the worst idea. I mean, did have an early stop for damage, and towards the end of the race, I have seen him have some fairly ludicrous slides.
Yep.
But City Porsche having fresh tyres is probably the best thing he can do because he's usually very quick.
Nexus Catch just is not comfortable going through turn 1 at all. Oh.
Robin's got past Hijack. Got Hijack just with back at the benefit.
Well, these two will be in a party together and they're going to be loving every second of this fight.
But City Porsche has got past Coutinho.
Yeah, trouble is these guys doing that is making the gap to Aspect not come down as quickly as they would probably like.
Also, they only gained a few tenths that lap, but Aspect is rapidly closing the back of the podium now.
Yeah, he's within that DRS range now. Well, here comes Nexus Aspect. I imagine there's going to be an attempt coming into the hairpin in just a second. I think onto the podium's a bit of a sitting duck here.
Also, Aspect had a very good run through turn 2. Both got very similar levels of ERS left.
Yeah, onto the podium won't be too worried at this point. Even if he does drop off, I think he's still pretty much guaranteed a P3 as a minimum.
Also, Hijack has not closed at all this lap. So.
I think he's probably been distracted by battling with Ron. Like I said, those two are in a party together 100%, and they'll be enjoying being close to each other on track at this point. But once again, it's a Nexus dominated FTRL F2 lobby. Credit to them.
I mean, looking down towards the lower end, we have Donzo in 11th once again. Like, I think we should make a point just for 11th place.
Yeah.
But again, he's one of only very few drivers to do every single lap he's competed in. He just gets the car at the end no matter what.
Got to admire it.
Now
though.
I've said that. Yeah, I mean, the amount of collisions he's had, losses from him, but he just keeps going, keeps plodding away. It's fantastic to see.
Yeah, I mean, there's not. I mean, between the top 10, there's not really massive gaps. Like, there's a few sort of 7-second ones, but I mean, credit to them, they've all stuck fairly close to one another. There's a matter of a few seconds between each one of them. So it's been a pretty intriguing race to say least. We've obviously had the 5 retirements of Max, Catamies, Stim, Brutus, and ZE3. But still, well, and obviously Flying Throne. So there's 13 runners at this point.
Well, the Haas pairing are beginning to close up with Mikey on a medium tyre. How many times done 13 laps on a set of hards?
Could be a battle come the end. Coutinho is still sticking with City Posh, but I think whilst it's a little bit quieter, Pagani, we can maybe talk about the changes that will be happening next season.
We can indeed.
Yeah, so for those, I mean, obviously most people will probably have seen the announcement somewhere, whether it's been Vitinho through turn 1, how he saved that. Yeah, anyway, so after, God, over 2.5, pushing 3 years now, we've decided to kind of cut down on FTRL, should we say. Not for any untoward reason. There's no struggles here or anything like that. We could quite easily be continuing, as you've seen by the 19-person strong lobby that we've got this evening. We've got to a certain stage now, I think, where the F1 community is kind of ruined itself. I think it's probably the fairest way to put it. I don't know if you'd agree with me on that statement, Pagani.
Partially, I mean, partially part of it is down to esports coming in. It's sort of just
It's gone to people's heads.
Incentivised people the wrong way.
Yeah, the thing is, the game hasn't helped. Onto the podium's picked up another penalty, which probably put to rest any form of hope of a P2 for him here. But I don't think the game has helped. I mean,
the game is terrible.
Yeah, people don't tend to like the game. If the simple mechanics like the safety car feature and stuff, you would like to think that those things would be, probably one of the first things that you would implement into a racing game, But in terms of just the way that the community's gone, unfortunately, there's just not the... How can I put this? In terms of new people wanting to join the community and stuff, it's kind of become a bit of a dying art. And at this stage of the year, when F1's finished in real life as well, it tends to just kind of fall to sleep for everybody. And we've got to a certain point now where there's so many of us that run it and have an input in the league and stuff, and after doing it religiously, I mean, we run Monday to Friday at the moment every single week without fail, so we don't need to do it at all. But I think what we're trying to avoid is we've got an extremely strong core of FTRL, a lot of them obviously in this race tonight, and we want to just strip it back to basics. And did you see that as well?
Yeah, Coutinho full opposite lock through turn one.
Yeah, we want to just strip it back down to basics and remember why we first started doing the league. Now, there's a lot of other leagues out there, and I respect them all very, very much. In particular, no detriment to any others, but ones like PSGL, One Hub Racing, ILR, and the other leagues like that, they're all brilliant in their own right. Now, people will agree, people will disagree, however it is. The problem is the vast majority of people, I think, have got to a stage now where they're more in this community for the drama and all of the other stuff that come with it, and that's one thing that we've never been about. So the reason why we're stripping things back down to basics is because people like myself and you, Pagani, we're not teenagers, we're not, and it's no disrespect to those that are, but we're not interested in that side of anything. We want to just have a core group of people that we've made lifelong friends with, which is exactly what we've done, and we want to be able to enjoy our time, so to speak. So we're just going to be, have some fun, strip it back. So we're going to be running on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we're going to have 2 divisions rather than the 3. The people that will be staying is obviously the longer serving core members of FTRL. Those that are leaving, the vast majority of them, have already said that with the day changes they can't do anyway. So there's no bad blood between anybody at all. It's all been a very, very nice transition. Obviously we'll miss people, but it's never to say that we won't go back to it. It's just maybe for the rest of this game or for a couple of seasons or however we're going to do it. We're going to strip it back down to basics and maybe reevaluate what direction we go in. So we're going to be losing our Monday division and our performance division, and we're going to obviously keep Gran Turismo, which we will be looking to expand at some point in the new year. So 2 in F1, probably 2 in GT eventually. That's going to be our limit. That's where we're going to be at. But it'll be a breath of fresh air. I think we're going to be going a little bit more private, still streaming all the races and whatever else. But it's something we spoke about for a very long time, in particular myself and you, Pagani, didn't we? Maybe from about season 9 or something, and we're now over halfway through season 11. So,
or midnight conversations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, both of us with the worst insomnia ever have our conversations at 3 o'clock in the morning talking about absolute rubbish. But yeah, so sorry to go on for a few laps there, everybody, but that's the kind of process. The idea is for us to, enjoy ourselves a bit more, be a bit more light-hearted with it all, You know, the sort of professionalism of it will obviously stay to a certain degree, but there'll be a lot more fun and bantery stuff going on with the league. We'll maybe do a few more special championships and charity events and other bits and pieces, the things that we can do and enjoy rather than things we can do and just have an enormous amount of pressure on ourselves. So yeah, that's the reason why the change is happening, for those that do watch this back and for those that are listening now. So I'm sure there'll be a fully supportive amount of people. There'll be some people that don't like it, but then for those that don't, there's plenty of other leagues out there if that particular side of things isn't for them. So yeah, but anyway, we're on the final lap of the race now, and Nexus Legend has pretty much controlled it.
Yes, indeed. I mean, the threat of weather has held off.
It certainly has. Well, it looked very, very dark, didn't it, at first?
It did indeed. A bit overcast.
Well, now, it's going to be an interesting podium because I've not actually had a chance to speak to any of these people. So, well, obviously, onto the podium.
I was going to say, we don't really have a choice whenever one of the podium's about. He sort of likes to talk for a bit. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the question is, it's your first sort of commentary for a while, so who would you like to get in as a driver for the day? Sort of perspective on it.
Let's have a look at the opposition changes. Anyway, Nexus Legend comes around the final corner and he's going to claim another race win. Brilliant drive from him, thoroughly deserved. I haven't seen any mistakes, no wobbles, nothing. So good on him. Nexus Legend comes around and takes P2, onto the podium takes P3, and they stay in position. Hijack comes around the final corner to take P4, and Rom Elson.
Rom does jumping.
Yeah, Rom takes P4. All City Posh jumps in. So Hijack ended up 6th after that.
So you mentioned he's picking up a few penalties.
Yeah. I didn't think it was as many as that, I must say.
Nexus Cat's only just made it to the line as his car crashed before the line.
Where is Hammer Time? He's coming around the final corner. Up one, gets himself a point.
Does currently have fastest lap as well.
Is he?
Pitted late for the soft tyre.
Yeah, sensible for him, yeah. Picked himself up another point. I'm going board with Donzo as he comes around to complete his race. Another P11 for Donzo. But good on him. There we go.
I don't know how many races Donzo has competed in, how many he's finished. It's got to be a fairly good record, I do believe.
Yeah, I'm going to have a look at that now, just for this season alone, because his start to finish ratio must be very, very high. Okay, well I'll tell you what, just get in the normal podium people tonight, and we'll maybe arrange something else for later on in the week, maybe like a little driver interview or something instead.
Well, Nexus Legend hasn't had a mic the entirety of the season.
Okay, so getting Aspect onto the podium and Ron Melson.
Sounds good to me.
Cool, so Donzo, well, he's finished every single race he started, basically. But anyway, so Nexus Legend, like we said, takes the win with his championship rival Aspect alongside him in P2. Onto the podium, takes P3, rounds off the podium. Ron Elson finishes in P4. City Posh jumps up, I think it was 8 places in the end, finishing P5. Hijacked has dropped a couple. Obviously, the 2-stop didn't exactly work out too well for him, unfortunately. Vitinho ended up P7, Nexus Cat's P8, and the 2 hash drivers of Mikey and Hammer Time round off the top 10. And then Donzo finishing in P11 with Nexus Lotus in P12, and Lee Cole the last of the runners. Flying Chrome's lagged car, along with the retirements of Max, Cat, Stim, Brutus and ZE3 round off the results for this championship race. So we'll head back to the main menu and get chatting with the drivers. Let's get them in for a few seconds, let them catch their breath just while it all loads back.
I mean, I might have guessed that the last person to join would be onto the podium.
Of course it is. It always is.
What the hell?
Okay, right. Well, first of all, congratulations to you all. I know, obviously, Rom, it wasn't a podium tonight, but a P4 was a very good result. We'll come to you in just a moment, mate. Right, starting off with you, Nexus Aspect.
Hello?
Hello, mate. Right, so obviously ends up with a P2 tonight. It did look like that might not happen for a large portion of that race. Obviously, I know you was in a bit of a battle for a while, and then after your pit stop, it didn't look like you might be able to catch onto the podium and Rom at one point. Or it wasn't maybe making the ground that you would have liked to at that stage. Was you always confident you was going to get yourself at least P2 tonight?
Yeah, I thought I would catch them. I mean, I knew they were in a fight as well, so I knew I'd kind of catch them that way a bit, and I kind of thought I was faster, because in the first stint, it was a bit odd, like, in the hairpin, Legende broke, and then I broke, and then, or braked rather, and then he kind of broke a bit more, and I wasn't braking as much, so I kind of went down his inside.
Yeah.
And then it kind of looked like it wasn't done, kind of looked like it was.
Right.
And then I ended up getting damage, and I think if I didn't get that damage, I could have fought for the win. And being only 6 seconds back, I think I lost a lot more than 6 seconds from it.
Yeah,
so.
You probably would have done, yeah, 100%. Well, just looking at your results for the season. Now, after what is now 8 races, you have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is now your 6th podium out of 8 races this season. Obviously, well in contention for the championship with Nexus Legend. I know obviously he's a little bit ahead, but it only takes one bad result from him, and you're right well within the mix. Now, obviously you joined us, and you obviously started off in F3, and you made the jump up to F2. So, have you always known that your pace has been in there, or have you kind of found your feet more over the last over the course of this season, really, because your results have got a lot more consistent than what they were maybe this time last season?
Yeah, last season, maybe it was a thing of getting used to the game, but also, like, it only ever really happened in FTRL. I'm not really sure why. It was just kind of an FTRL thing that I used to spin quite a bit. Right. I don't really spin anymore at all, but, like, last season, just in FTRL I did. It was a bit, like, I wasn't really sure why I was, but, like, I kind of had a thing for spinning in FTRL, but I kind of fixed it, I guess, this season. And, like, even in other leagues recently, I seem to have, like, started being, like, getting some wins, and obviously I got some wins here as well. So I think my pace is kind of drastically improved. I mean, I thought I would always be there for podiums, but I never really thought that I'd be fighting someone like the Legende, and now I kind of am. So, I mean, that's something I guess I never really expected, but overall on this game I have improved quite a bit. Just kind of came suddenly. I didn't really do anything different, just
Yeah, well, I mean, I must say it's been very, very impressive from you this season. I know obviously I've not commentated over it, but I've watched every single race and I've been massively impressed with you, mate. So, yeah, really, really chuffed. So, going forward, obviously we're entering into the final third of the season now, which we've got China as the next track up. Now, like I said earlier on, the gap to Nexus Legend is going to be around the sort of 20-point mark, something like that, going into those final 4 races. Now, I know that's quite an ask because obviously he's a superb driver, but I mean, these last 4 races, do you reckon you can do anything there to claw back that gap? Have you got the confidence to do it?
I mean, like, I think I could have won here, and I have beat Legende before, obviously, and he's obviously beat me before too. So I'd say on pace we are similar, but I am able to beat him. Like, he is beatable. So in theory, if I can get ahead of him and just kind of get points that way and hope that he messes up a bit and I don't get any bad luck, then it could be on. But it is a bit of a gap, given also the point system for this league is a little different. So you get less points for, like, closing in, which is fine. I'm not, like, don't have a problem with the point system, but, like, it's a bit of an ask, but it is possible. I mean, obviously the championship's not over, so I'm going to fight to the very end.
Cool. Right, well, like I said to you, mate, well, China's up next, so I can only wish you the best of luck going forward, and let's hope you can claw back the gap towards the end of the season, mate. Well done on your excellent P2 tonight.
Yeah, China, I actually never liked China. I don't really know why, but I've never got along with China.
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
I never liked it, really. It's my least favourite track. I don't really know if I'm good around there. I haven't really raced it that much, so hopefully I can get a good result, but like I'm not really... I'd be expecting a podium, but I don't really think I'd be quicker than Legende, but we'll see.
Well, we're all as anxious as what you are to find out, mate, so hopefully you bring your A game next week and we'll see you there.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool, well done, mate.
Well, I'm pleased I retired now that I found out it's China next week. Thank God for that. Well, Mr. Onto the podium. I'm not going to say what you don't want me to say because I'm nice.
Thank you.
We were expecting P3 after qualifying P7.
Nope, not at all.
I mean, right, last week you had genuine pace. We know you like Singapore. How did that translate to Germany? Is it one of your better tracks, or is it...
I like the track, but I'm not quick at it. So, to get P3, I'm over the moon. I'm shocked.
I mean, we saw you pick up a couple of penalties, which is unlike you. I mean, Aaron called them, like, one of them very lazy on where you got it. Was it a case of... yeah, that was a mistake, or was it just... I know someone's a bit of a bitch with it, but...
Yeah, there were a few that are a bit questionable. I think most of them were either on the exit or on the entrance to turn 1. But... yeah, just lack of practice. By lack of, I mean 0. But it didn't affect my position in the end. I could have got second on pens, but... oh well, I'll take a podium.
I mean, P3 in the race, P3 in the points, so you pulled away from City Porsche in 4th. I mean, it's looking like a pretty good season at the moment. I mean, are you surprised to find yourself in P3 in the championship?
Yeah, I mean, after the half season I had last season and the start of this one, I was aiming for top 5 and it's looking like a pretty secure P3. Seem to be best of the rest compared to the top 2, so I'll take that.
Results this season, I mean, you mentioned at the start you had an 8th and an 11th in the first and the third race, but I mean, you've had what, a 4th, a 2nd, a 3rd, a 4th and a 6th and now another 3rd, so it's fairly consistent at the moment, which you've got to be slightly happy with at least.
No, I'm never happy.
I know, that's why I said slightly. It's got to up the morale just a little bit.
Well, I mean, P3 is probably the best I can hope, or was going to hope for this season, so I'll consider it a victory in my eyes.
I mean, you got China next week.
I'm going to lose that P3.
So I think it's not one of your better tracks then.
Given how I designed the calendar, I don't like it too much. So yeah, these final 4 races, I don't like them.
Maybe we should fire the guy that made the calendar then. I mean,
Joe did help quite considerably. I mean, some would argue I didn't have a say in it.
Because, to be honest with you, Joe contributing towards the calendar has absolutely not swayed that argument at all about sacking someone.
I mean, we must congratulate you on another podium. I mean, it hurts, but we must congratulate you. So,
thanks very much.
Well done on the podium, and we might see you again. I mean, we might see you on a wall. It all depends. I mean, yeah.
I think I'm due a collision with Cat that I come out worse. So,
well, best of luck for the rest of the season, and maybe we'll see you again on the podium. Maybe.
Thank you.
Yeah, nicely done, Connor. Right. coming to my old mate Rom. Good evening, mate.
How are you doing, mate?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, a little bit fuming, but yeah, it's all right.
Why? What? Oh, because of your drive-through.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine that was very, very annoying for you. Obviously, it was quite. I think you was involved in pretty much a race-long battle with somebody. You seem to always be with somebody in that race tonight. How was the race overall from your perspective? I know obviously you was very, very annoyed with the drive-through penalty under the virtual safety car, but overall, was you quite happy with your pace? Did you seem quite calm on track? Any mistakes or anything?
Not really mistakes, except for the dump drive-through penalty. I lost my focus for a second to this virtual safety car, so yeah, that was a stupid mistake. But yeah, for the rest of the race, I had a lot of fun battling. First aspect, and then later on onto the podium. This was pretty fun. Didn't make any big mistakes, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw you battling with Hijack towards the end as well. No, I know you guys must have been in a party together as well, but it looked like he was. I mean, he came out the pits after the virtual safety car. Obviously, he was on a two-stop anyway, but he was on the fresh medium tyres, and he got himself ahead of you after your drive-through. And I thought to myself, he might be able to catch the guys at the front. And then I think he got a bit distracted by having a bit of a battle with you. Did that happen, or was it not as simple as that?
Nah, the plan was for Hijack to pull me to podium and aspect, but yeah, because he was on the medium tires.
Yeah,
he was a lot faster than me. I could hang on him in the first couple of laps, but yeah, afterwards, yeah, he was just too fast. And also a big shout out to Hijacked and Max for calming me down, because otherwise I would have made a lot more mistakes after my drive-through penalty, because I was so fuming.
Did your head go completely?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It happens, mate. But I mean, just looking at your obviously it's your first full season in F2. I know,
exactly.
Obviously you started up with F3, and you was obviously a little bit unsure when you first moved up, and thought it'd be quite a challenge. But after that result tonight, just by having a quick look at the table, that puts you, I think it puts you up into like P6 maybe in the championship. So you're only really behind the guys that are in this party chat with you, Hijacked to Nexus Legend. So overall, it's been a pretty good season for you so far. Are you happy with it?
I think the first two races were a little less, but now the last 3-4 races that I did race, like Singapore, I didn't race last week. Yeah, we're pretty good and pretty consistent. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with my form right now. I'm getting better every race, and yeah, I hope it goes in a rising line.
Nice. Well, final question from me. Obviously, we've got China next week. How is China for you?
Well, I did China only once in another league that I was in. Yeah, it was pretty well. I don't know. I don't know how fast I am on the track compared to the other drivers in F2. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I hope to go for top 5, but yeah, I don't know. Like
cool.
I said, I don't know how fast I am compared to the other drivers on the track.
Well, that's the beauty of F2. Unfortunately, it's a massive mystery, so we never know what we're going to get. So, but nevertheless, congratulations on another good result. It could have been even better, but for that drive-through. But nevertheless, a P4 is still a very good result, and I wish you the best of luck in going into next week, mate.
Okay, thanks, mate.
Cool. Right. Well, for a very rare occasion, obviously you've all had the pleasure of listening to me for the evening. I hope it's not been too painful for everybody that's watched the stream. But yeah, I mean, that wraps up what has been a very intriguing, is probably the word I would use for that race, for round number 8 of this championship and the F2 side of FTRL. Next week, like we've mentioned a few times, we're heading to China. So as we sort of slowly start to wrap up towards the end of the season, and it will be the last race of 2019 before we have a 2-week break over Christmas and New Year. So be sure to check it all out then. Obviously we've got the F3 race tomorrow night, we've got Performance on Thursday, which I'm also hosting, and we've got GT Sport on Friday for the last races of the season for that, which I believe we're going to be joined by Mr. Rom for that one as well. So yeah, you don't want to miss that. So yeah, nevertheless, thank you all very much for watching. Well done to all of the finishers tonight. Well done especially to the podium sitters as well as Rom, and thank you to Pagani for dragging me through this. I'm very, very rusty with all of this, but yeah, nevertheless, we will see you next time, and thank you all very much, and good night.